And I'm going to find my window here. Okay, so before we get started, any thoughts or questions that are urgent, pressing on anyone's mind? No? I take it it's a no? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. And thank you all for taking the time to join, by the way. We have right now 9 or 10 people on board, which is pretty awesome. So let me go ahead and kill my webcam and share my screen instead. And can you guys give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen? Awesome. All right, very good. So let's go ahead and take a look at the greater Tampa Bay homesearch.com and some ideas for how you can do codes, URLs for your lead generation. Some very important pointers with respect to testing, because I've seen people run an ad and they didn't test it through, and as a result, they didn't have, for example, their subdomain in the URL, and they were then generating leads that went into the company lead rotation as opposed to their own leads. So when you look at the URL here, we have www.greatertampabayhomesearch.com. I created also a subdomain for myself, Thomas. I'm in the Bradenton. Let me go to Tampa Bay. I created one, thomas.greatertampabayhomesearch.com, and you can see the difference. I have here now Thomas Hyman, which is not there for the main corporate site. So on the main corporate site, you have you don't have any agent information here, and also when you click on About on the main corporate site, you'll see all the agents that are on the site, as opposed to when you go to your own site. Oh, wrong city again. When you go to your own site, number one, you're going to have your information here. And if you were to click on About, it's just going to have your information, as opposed to on the company site where it has everyone's information. And so every member that joins has their own subdomain website, and we use your user ID. So Tanya, for example, is plus.greatertampabayhomesearch.com. And if you have your own domain set up and we configure it for you, then it may only show your own domain. Let's say KarenSmithRealEstate.com, which would be, come on computer, which would be Karen's site, but it really is ksmith.greatertampabayhomesearch. That would be her subdomain. And so keep those things in mind as we look at how to build searches and make sure that you get credit for them. So let's go into the dashboard here and look at the leads. And so within the lead dashboard, when you just look high level here, you can see here we have Google. These are the company-generated leads from the company pay-per-click marketing campaign. So if you see a source that says Google or Googsell, which would be for seller leads, those are company-generated leads that go into the lead rotation. You may also see like a Facebook URL or just www.greatertampabayhomesearch. Those would all be company-generated leads. Now, on your agent side, here's, for example, a lead, maybe a test lead that Tanya set up with her site. So you can see here we have plus, which is her ID, and then the referring URL. So this person went to plus.greatertampabayhomesearch.com to register the lead. And of course, those don't go into any lead rotation. They're immediately and directly assigned to her. And so Tanya could do a lot of marketing and just redirect from her other websites to a search on her plus.greatertampabayhomesearch.com website. She could do Facebook ads that link out to plus.greatertampabayhomesearch.com. But the problem is that she won't know where they come from. She just knows that they came from her website, and as a result, tracking is going to be very, very difficult. I mean, she could dig in and see, what is the property view and what is the first property that somebody looked at. It's like, oh, okay, this home here I advertised on that ad and try to figure out this way. But that's just a pain in the butt and very, very inefficient. So the great thing with Commissions Inc. is that you can create your own source codes. And there's a caveat with it. When you create your own source codes, you have to be very, very careful, number one. And number two, you have to test everything, and I'm going to show you how to do that to make sure that you actually get the credit that you're seeking. Okay? So I'm going to use my site here as an example. So I'm going to go here to my public website, which is thomas.greatertampabayhomesearch.com. And even if you have your own virtual domain set up, when you click on public website from your dashboard, it'll take you to your full subdomain URL, which is fantastic because that's what you want to use for your marketing. You can also build your own custom landing pages, and what I'm going to show you with respect for the source code ID works with landing pages, works with anything. I mean, you could use your agent opportunities page and create a source code, and it would work the same way. But let's go ahead and take a look at a typical search. So let's say, for example, I wanted to look for home buyers in Reddington Shores, which is on the beach, and I just went here to the predefined search that's already there for Reddington Shores. You could go ahead and customize your search further. You can build a search as complex as you want it to be or as easy as you want it to be. And so you could go ahead and market, advertise, homes for sale in Reddington Shores, for example. You could have a Facebook ad, great deals on the beaches, and then have one tab for Reddington Shores, one for Indian Rocks Beach, one for Madeira Beach, and so forth, and have different searches configured for those properties. Now, in theory, you could advertise any property because you're just driving traffic back to your IDX website, but it is a little bit of an iffy issue. So if you're going to advertise an individual property, you want to stick to properties that are actually listed by Realty Partners, just to be on the safe side. Because if sometimes you might advertise some jerk's listing that works for, some company, and then they get all upset and bent out of shape and start leaving you a nasty remark on your Facebook page, which is just something you don't want. So it's just better to either create your custom searches or create landing pages and use that in your marketing. So when you have a search, any kind of search here, and right now the price range is over $50,000, so it has a lot of stuff here. You can narrow this down, of course. It's between $50,000 and $300,000. So let's narrow this down, and let's say between $300,000 and $3 million. I'm going to hit search. It'll just take a second to update this. And you can already see up here the minimum price and max price here is already updated in the URL. Okay, so this entire string here defines the search, and it goes on even further. And this is the URL that you would want to post in your marketing. Let me go back though to the original search result, because that URL was a little bit shorter and it's easier to show you how to work with that. And I apologize for the speed, but anytime I run a separate screencast recording program and the the GoToMeeting, it just slows things down. Let me just open a new window and see if I can start over. Okay, Thomas, let's go down here to Reddit Insurance. So this URL is much shorter, obviously, because it's going to the predefined search, the saved search. If you put in more search criteria, this URL can get very, very long. And what I do with very long URLs, I copy and paste the entire URL into a notepad, and then work with a notepad, and then copy and paste it back from the notepad into a web browser. So I would do something like this. I would highlight the entire thing, I would copy it, I would go into Notepad, come on Notepad, Notepad doesn't want to open. All right, let's do it without Notepad, and maybe Notepad will open up here in a minute. So we have this URL here, and as you can see, the URL ends in Reddington-Shores, and there's nothing behind it. So if you were to go ahead and use this URL to run an ad or drive traffic to this ad, it's going to show thomas.greatertampabayhomesearch.com as the referring website that is driving traffic. So I want to have a custom search code. So the syntax is very simple, and you need to put a slash, it's a /, then a question mark, then src equals, =, and then a code. The code can be letters or numbers. They cannot be symbols. So you can't put an exclamation point or question mark or anything in there. And you cannot have any spaces in that code. So I'm going to use th-test as a code. You couldn't make it th space test. That wouldn't work. But you can make it th-test or th-demo, one word, or you could have _demo. Personally, I think just having one word without any funky symbols in there is the safest bet, because you don't want to take any risk of the system misinterpreting it. So just use, th-demo or, Facebook ad, whatever you want your source code to be. And you want to map these things out ahead of time. So you don't want to just haphazardly, as you're building your ads, play around with these source codes. You want to make sure that you have all of your source codes configured and tested before you get started. And so here I have my notepad. So let me go ahead and paste the original URL in here. If you were to use Notepad, then you just go ahead in here and put in !src equals th-demo. And you can save that, have a file where you have your source code and what ad it belongs to, and then you can reuse it later on, and you can just copy and paste the source code. And so this is the first step. And it doesn't matter how long this URL is. This URL could be 4 or 5 lines long, as long as you put /, just one /, question mark, src equals, and then your code, you're fine. And I'm going to show you how to do that with a longer URL as well. So I'm going to move this back out here. And let me see if I go to this property. This is not a very long URL. I want to find a longer URL. So let me go ahead and go back to the searches and build a quick. So let's say here, homes for sale in Tampa. Obviously going to be a lot of them. Let's make this okay, at least 3 bedrooms. And again, this is going to work much faster on your side, but my computer is just on the fritz, running all these multiple programs, recording and so forth. Come on. Let's leave the bath there. Let's go here and put in 250,000 as the starting price range. Let's go to property type and put in a different property type here as well. And if you have any questions, please, jot them down, and I'll be happy to go over them with you. So let's just do condos. So only condominiums. So I'm looking for condos, 3 bedrooms plus in Tampa, 250,000 plus. So I'm going to hit search. It looks like it already updated the search here. So let me just go ahead and copy and paste this URL. So I'm going to go here, copy. I'm going to go back to my notepad. And I'm going to go ahead and paste it here. And as you can see, it's a much longer one. I'm going to go ahead and put / question mark SRC equals TH condos. Different code. Okay, so I created these codes, these URLs. The next thing is we got to test them, and this is so important. I can't stress it enough because you want to make sure that you actually get what you're looking for. Also, you want to make sure that this here has your ID. So if this were www, bad thing. You want it to be your ID. Any kind of URL that you use to post, you want to have your URL in there, otherwise it's not going to track it to you. So let's go ahead and test these two things. And I am going to open what's called an incognito window. So right now in this session here, Google Chrome, which I'm using, but it's the same with any other browser, is going to use cookies and history data and so forth from my prior surfing sessions. So I'm going to have a clean web session to basically create what a visitor to our site would experience. So in an incognito window, which you can open up here from the little dots and open a new incognito window, you basically have a brand new isolated session where there are no cookies, there's no history, there's no nothing, and we can now go ahead and copy and paste this URL. So I'm going to go paste and go. Whoops, made a mistake. Didn't have the code in there. So copy. So very important, you want to make sure that you have the right URL. So we have up here the SRC equals TH condos in here. Okay. And actually, just to make sure, I'm going to kill this incognito window completely, and I'm going to start it up again as a brand new session, just to make sure that my prior session didn't read the info without the source code. So let's try it again with the source code, brand new session, TH condos. So here are the condos, and when I now, as the visitor, I'm like any other visitor that just comes to the site for the very first time. I'm going to click on any of these. It's going to ask me to register. Okay. Now, very important with your registration, you don't want to use your email address because it's going to link it to your existing account. So I'm just going to go ahead and put in here Thomas Tester, and I'm going to use thtesting123@blah.com and phone number 941-555-1212. And I'm going to hit continue search. It's going to ask me these questions. Have you been pre-qualified? Are you a first-time home buyer? Do you have a home to sell? Yeah, I got a house for sale. So now it's going to ask me what's most important to me doing my home search. This is what determines the disc model profile. I'm going to go here, top-rated schools. I'm going to hit confirm. Now it's asking you to have a house to sell. So somebody that has a house for sale could put in the information and get a home evaluation. I'm just going to go ahead and say no thanks, because I just want to look at this property. So I'm here at this property now, and I can see this information. Now, let's try the other code. So I'm going to close this window completely. I'm going to go back to my notepad, and I'm going to try the other one. So I'm going to go ahead and open a new incognito window. It's going to the right page. It's where I want it to go. And just as before, when I start looking at the property, it's going to prompt me. So I'm going to do, Thomas testing again. Testing 234. So a different email address. Testing.com. 813-225-2255. Continue my search. So this time I'm going to use some different questions, or different answers I should say. No house for sale, so it's not going to prompt me for the thing to sell the house. And here's the property. Okay. So again, it's being registered. Of course, it's my site here because I used my subdomain here, thomas.greatertampabayhomesearch.com. And let's close this and go into the back office and see what happens. I'm going to go into my dashboard here. And I want to verify that the leads actually register properly. You don't want to spend money promoting a URL with something that turns out to not work. Okay? So, all right, so we got a challenge here. They both came to me, but the challenge that we have is over here, I got my TH demo code, which worked fine, but here it puts it down for thomas.greatertampabayhomesearch.com, so it didn't read the source code. So, my question is why. I'm going to go into the URL here, into the property record, and let me go ahead into the info. And it just has thomas.greatertampabayhomesearch.com, and I think this could be because this is the link where I opened it up and pasted the URL without the code, and it must have registered me somehow as a result. So let's try this again and use a different code. So let me go back in here. Make sure there are no other incognito windows. They're not. So let me go ahead and create a new one again. Let's try this. And I do have, type this quick. All right, so here is, I understand where the challenge is. Up here, we have a, and this is where it's getting tricky, and again, it's an advanced perspective. Up here we have the HTTP Thomas Greater Tampa Bay Home Search, blah, 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 search with the URL for the saved search, homes for sale on Reddington Shores, / and then question mark src equals thdemo. Now down here we have search quick, and then we have a bunch of other things already there. We have question mark city equals Tampa, and for listing type c equals blah blah blah, and min price equals page equals 1 per page, and property blah blah blah. So this / back here isn't going to work. Instead, we need to put an ampersand and src equals th condos. Let's try that. And again, the wonderful thing with testing is that you can test, make sure that it works. So it's still loading the page. Once it's done loading, we can click on the link. All right, th again. Let's make the 727 555 1212 for good luck. So these question mark equal is basically telling the server that there's now a bunch of parameters coming afterwards, and you can string multiple parameters together by having and equals that, and equals that, and so that's what we had to do. And I'll go over it again, but let's make sure that it worked, because I may be also mistaken. You never know. So let me go back here. I'm in the dashboard. And now it worked. See? Now we have Thomas and TH condos. So now we're good to go. We can use that URL. So when you create a defined search with many different search parameters, price ranges, bedrooms, and you can go on and on and on. Under more search options, you can build a search that includes everything that's in the MLS. You're going to get a URL that's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 lines long. And you basically have the first question mark here starting all of the parameters. Okay, city equals Tampa, Florida. So the space is the percent to C, Florida. And listing type equals condo. And max price equals this. And minimum beds equals 3. And minimum price equals 250,000. And on and on and on. So at the very end, your source code at this point would just be and src equals blah, blah, blah. Up here, that doesn't work. You can't just have and src equals, because there is no question mark yet here that tells the server now we have a bunch of parameters coming. So up here, if there is no question mark and other stuff, then you would put / question mark src. Down here, we put and src equals. So you just got to test it, and once you know that it's working and that the lead is coming through with the right source code, then you can go ahead and run your ad. Okay, so I can see these leads came to Thomas, th demo, blah blah blah. Now, you could use your custom domain to run searches and do lead generation with codes. Let's take a look at this URL here. Okay, I could, and I'm not going to register anything, so I'm not using incognito window. I could use this URL, but let's say if my web domain was, let's say I was Karen, and my website was Karen Smith Real Estate. I could go ahead and put here karensmithrealestate.com/search. And I would still get to the same destination. And it's on her site. As you can see up here, it has her information. So the person registering right now, she would get credit because it's going to her site. The only challenge with doing it this way is that when somebody now continues to search around, this URL will always stay there, okay? So if they go home, come on computer, it goes to the home page, but it still has the original search term up here. Go to About, it still has the search term up here. As opposed to if I use my true subdomain URL, then as I click around, it goes to thomasgreaterbayhomesearch.com. It goes to thomasgreaterhomesearch.com/about. So the URL changes. When you use your personal custom domain, it always stays the same. You know, so if I go, for example, to karensmithrealestate.com, it always shows that URL up here. So when I go here to About, it still shows that URL. So if you wanted to have a link from another website to your About page, well, that's not the URL for the About page. That's just the masked URL that covers it. So no matter where she goes, it'll always be this, you know, which is fine for somebody going to her website, but it's not necessarily fine for you building a custom marketing domain that is going to have a very, very long URL. But it's up to you. Either one works. But as always, you have to test it. So if you substitute part of the URL with your own custom domain, run a test, do a dummy lead, and make sure that you get what you were looking for, you know. And as you saw with the lead dashboard here, I wasn't getting what I was looking for. You know, I wanted to have my my search code here, and it didn't show because of an error in the URL. So I got to go in and troubleshoot it and make sure that it comes through properly. Then I can use it. And in reality, unless you are spending humongous amounts of money on marketing, you're not going to need more than a few URLs. Now, another thing you can do is you can use other domains with your tracking URL. For example, I have two domains that I've had now for 10, 12 years, back in the day when Sarasota and Manatee had their own MLSs. So I went ahead and I registered SarasotaMLS.net, and I go straight to Homes for Sale in Sarasota. This is part of the Braden and Sarasota HomeSearch.com website. It's the main corporate site, so you don't see my info here. If somebody registers, it goes into the company lead generation, but it'll show in the source code MLS.net. Sarasota MLS is the code that it would show. The same thing with Manatee. Oops, this is not it. ManateeMLS.net is the same thing. But here the forwarding is taking place on GoDaddy side. So on GoDaddy, I redirected manatee-mls.net to the long URL for Homes for Sale in Manatee /SRC Sarasota MLS as the code, so I know where the lead came from. So if you're using 5, 6, 10 different domains, instead of forwarding the domain to, you know, rick.greatertampabayhomesearch.com, forward one domain to rick.blah /SLC equals domain name without the .com, the second one to that domain name. So then when somebody registers on your site, you see, that person came from that website, that person came from that website. So so you can do that, and you can of course use domains because they're so cheap to forward to searches, predefined searches. You can forward to landing pages. Let's say you're farming in a community, or maybe the community you live in, you're a member in Nextdoor. Why not register a domain for that community? Community.info or community.com or whatever is available. And then you have your custom search built. That search will always be good. You could have one search even for the sold ones, because you can create filters and show only properties that actually sold as opposed to properties that are for sale. And so you could have these two URLs with a source code so you know where people came from, and use it in your marketing. So it opens up a lot of opportunity. And there's another video somewhere in our library in Commissions Inc. on using domains for marketing. And I'm going to go back and turn my webcam on, and unmute all of you guys. So let's open it up. Any thoughts or questions regarding what we just covered? And again, I'm going to post this to Workplace afterwards, both to the Commissions Inc. Site as well as the training group. And also, if you have any other thoughts that are unrelated to this, let me have it.
Thomas, good morning.
Good morning.
When I was recently in GoDaddy, I'm setting up a website, datafeature.com.
Yes.
And when I looked deep in it, I saw the Realty Partners link there. You didn't put that there, right?
We did. When we set up your account originally, we went ahead and forwarded datafeature.com to your Commissions Inc. website as a placeholder until you do something with it.
Great, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, good. Just wanted to be clear on that because I didn't do it.
Yeah.
All right, great. Thank you. We'll check that out again.
By the way, Dana, if you use URL forward for your site to another site, then make sure that you select with masking so that it actually continues to show your URL as opposed to just changing over to whatever you're forwarding to.
Continue. What? Could you repeat that, Thomas?
Yeah, in your settings, you're going to see you can forward a domain with or without masking. When you forward a domain without masking, then it's basically just going to change the URL in the window. So let's say, for example, if you forwarded thomashyman.com to Google and you type in thomashyman.com without masking, it'll just change to Google, and it goes to Google, and it'll say google.com in the search bar. If you have masking, then it'll be like Karen Smith here. It'll show her domain name here. And up here, we have Karen Smith Realtor. You can also set keywords and metadata and things like that all carry over, which is better for search engine optimization and what have you, because search engines pick up on that information. So I would use masking if you can.
Okay, I'd like to talk to you separately. I don't want to take time from the group about reestablishing the masking thing, but I'll get back to you on that. Thank you, Thomas.
Yep, and set up the domain and let me look at it, and I'll tell you if something should be changed. It's not a big deal. All right, any other questions, thoughts, comments? I know we covered a lot of stuff. Hi, Tanya. I can't hear you. You need to unmute yourself. I cannot hear you, Tanya. You have to unmute yourself. Hold on. You are self-muted. Rick, I'm going to mute you, and I'm going to mute Jim because you guys aren't talking, so there's no need for you to be unmuted. All right, Tanya, you're unmuted now. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
My sound thing is not working right, or at least in 5 minutes.
I can hear you fine.
Okay. Can you take that source code, once you get it into the CRM, so you've done your ad, people start coming in, let's say it's very specific for a community, can you take that point and create a specialized list for campaigns based on the field of the source code to source it out? So you can either do a specialized drip or that you can do a monthly mailer. So for example, I did it on a community, and once a month I want a special email that goes out to everybody who looked into the community of Astoria.
So
and I do that and use the source code to sort.
absolutely, and we'll do another training on that, but let me just go in here real quick and share my screen again. Hold on. I'm going to mute my camera, and can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so let me go here into my dashboard. There are a couple of things you can do. The first thing you can do, and this can get very, very involved. I'm just going to show you one thing, and I'm going to tell you about a few other things that you just need to play around with. The first thing you can do is you can create filters. Okay, so you can have filters where you can filter things based on all sorts of different information here, and you can create a filter that uses keywords and that uses source code. So, and if you have challenges setting up the filter, let me know and I'll work with you, and we'll record it so that other people can use it as well. And if we both run into things, then we'll contact the Commissions Inc. support. Another thing, all right, can you unmute yourself if you're not talking? Thank you. The other thing is you can use labels, okay? And these are all these labels that we have. And by default, we don't allow agents to create their own labels because otherwise it'll just go insane. But if you wanted to create a couple of labels to use as trigger, we can set those up for you. And you can actually use labels as triggers to start drip campaigns and start lead campaigns. So when you look at the drips, the ability to create drips within Commissions Inc., you can create your own custom drips. You can create drips that are only for you. You can create drips that are available for everyone. And within the drip campaign, you could set a trigger that will decide when does this drip campaign go live. You know, when does it start? And so in Commissions Inc., you can use number one, labels as a trigger. So when a label is applied, then it will execute the drip. The second thing is a pipeline stage. When a pipeline stage is applied, so let's say, for example, showing whatever, you can execute a drip. You can also stop another drip. So you can use these triggers to start and end activities. But you can also use things within the leads record itself to trigger drips. So my suggestion would be this: I would create a simple drip, and then I would see if you can figure out how to launch this drip using a source code. Okay, and if you cannot figure out how to do it, let me know, and we'll see if we can figure it out ourselves, or we will go ahead and contact Commissions Inc. Another thing too is up here in the Help Center. Let me go ahead and save my screen. You know, if you go in here and you search for drips, so you have all sorts of how to create custom drip campaigns and so forth, and how to create a custom source code for a page. I don't know if there's something in here, filter by source. But I would just, go through this here. And again, if you cannot figure it out, let me know, and then I'll be happy to hop in there with you. Okay. But so in your case, what I would do is I would. How many different things are we talking about, Tanya? Are we talking about a couple, or are we talking about 20, 30 different ones?
Now, I own some of the newer home communities and local communities up here, like Epperson that's coming, Astoria, Starkey Ranch, Long Lake Ranch. So I own these community sites.
Okay.
What they're going to be is a blog with services provided, and then linking to both floor plans to capture addresses, and now that I have the IDX, I'll be integrating a search for the houses on that website. So again, I want to be very known as the place to go for information about that community.
Okay.
So it'll have a lot of different stuff, very specific, but my thought is I'd like to mainly at least start out right now with a email about the community, people who put in their interest. To try to get either floor plans, which I might love to talk about integrating that anyway.
Okay.
The other thing was that question, when you have these long links and you're doing something like a Craigslist ad that puts it on the bottom, see more about this house, follow this link. Can you turn that into a bit.ly so that it doesn't look so complicated for somebody to click on within Craigslist?
You can go ahead and change it into you can shorten the link. We cannot do it within the email message of an outgoing email, let's say, but if you wanted to post something to Craigslist and you want to go in there and use bit.ly to shorten the URL, you can absolutely do it. It'll still work. I mean, bit.ly just forwards the short URL to the original URL. So that'll absolutely work, And you can do that too for your marketing. I mean, you can, instead of registering 20 different domains, you could have also, set up 20 different bit.lys, and you can set up a free account with bit.ly and actually track your clicks and so forth through those shortened URLs. I think for what you want to do, since you have different websites for these communities to capture information and bring the information in, I would set up a source code for those communities to track the clicks that come from those sites about the community into your Commissions Inc. site. And at the crudest way, you could obviously manually add people to a drip, but I'm going to shoot a message to Commissions Inc. support as well to see how we can automate that, so that when there is a certain source ID, can we use that to trigger a drip automatically? Okay, and we'll figure something out. Another way that could work possibly is using Zapier. Commissions Inc., you get an integration to Zapier, just as you get an integration to BombBomb, and I'm not sure all what fields are being passed through, but maybe the referral field is passed through as well. I don't know, could be. But I would play with that, because that would be easier than trying to set up 20 different labels for different communities, because that affects every agent's. Labels are not private. So, if you have 200 agents in Tampa and everyone wants to have 3, 4, 5 of their own labels, and before you know it, you're going to have 1,000 labels in there, which is fine, but then each agent won't be able to find their stuff because it's just too convoluted at that point. So, but yeah, we'll sort that out. And the nice thing with Commissions Inc. is not so much, can we do X? It's really a question of, how can we make X happen, So I always like to start with the end in mind. So here's what I would love to do. I would love to be able to do X, Y, Z. So the outcome is, how can we trigger an email drip campaign for certain types of people that came from whatever, Facebook leads or website leads and what have you not. And then we can make that happen. Also, there may be some other integrations that we can use as well. I'm thinking now along the lines of Infusionsoft that could run side by side. So we'll sort it out. I'm going to reach out to Commissions Inc. and I would suggest play around with creating like a sample drip, and we'll just play with it. Any other thoughts, questions? Gosh, you guys are so content. One thing that I really love about Commissions Inc. is that it really is an awesome solution for the average agent that, you know, maybe runs a couple of ads here and there and just wants to have a great IDX website solution that people can search for homes, where maybe they can have a QR code on their for sale site going to their website. And it works as well for that agent as it does for someone that wants to do massive marketing, or somebody that has 3, 4, 5, 10 different websites to go after different things. You know, for example, Rick, I know, is working on something where he's going to create a whole bunch of different landing pages. So you can create some pretty nice landing pages within Commissions Inc. And so you could create 20 different landing pages and have 20 different websites, you know, domains point to those landing pages, and then use those landing pages aggressively in different kind of marketing. And with those landing pages as well, if you promote a landing page on different media, then you would want to have a different source code, source ID for each of the ads that you're running. So it has a tremendous amount of flexibility, and so have at it. All right. Any other questions, thoughts? Rick? Hold on. Here we go. I'll unmute you.
Just want to say thank you for sharing that information. It is kind of a wowing to me. My thought is I could spend a month trying to learn this, or I'm going to just hire someone. So I'm going to go to college. I'm going to go to college and see if I can't get someone that can go in here. I clearly see 10, 15, 20 hours a week setting all these up, and then monitoring them and making sure they can check and give me, pie-shaped interest on what's working the best, and so on and so forth.
Well,
I'm going to focus on doing business, and I just got to get someone to do this for me.
So, one thing that you could do is, I hope you all are members of the Commissions Inc. user group on Facebook, and I would just post something there. I mean, I guarantee you there's somebody else out there already that has a similar question, that is using a VA somewhere to help them with Commissions Inc. I mean, I would not look for some college kid that has no freaking clue about Commissions Inc. or real estate or IDX marketing and expect them to figure it out and help you. I mean, you need to have a pro. You need someone that knows Commissions Inc. inside out better than anyone, that is doing this all day long, and they'll be able to add tremendous value to you. So I would, again, specifically look for that and start with the user group, the Commissions Inc. user group. If you don't get any feedback, then copy and paste and send me the information, and I'll post it to the Commissions Inc. owners group. There's another secret group on Facebook for the owners of the Commission Inc. sites, and so we'll find someone. I guarantee you, there are people that spend $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $10,000, $20,000 a month in marketing. They don't jerk around with trying to set up a website or copying, pasting URLs and all that stuff. They have a team of people, and they do that for them. So
that's what I want.
Yeah, and yeah. So again, the mindset has to be, number one, what is it that I want to accomplish specifically, so another person knows what the hell you're talking about or you're trying to accomplish. And then once you have that, you can turn it literally into a request for proposal and say, hey, I'm looking for someone that can help me accomplish X. Because there always is a way to get something done. I usually can think of 4 or 5 ways to approach something, but then there are other people that are much smarter than me that use that stuff all the time, and they probably know about 10 other ways that I never even thought about, Sorry, I'm looking over to the side because I got your faces over on my other monitor. So, yeah. let me know if you need help, but I would reach out to the Commissions Inc. user group first. If you don't get the resource you need, then I'll post to the owners forum. And I'm also going to post something, I'll make a note to myself right now, regarding Tanya's issue on the drip campaign launching. I'm going to send something to the owners group as well. Any other thoughts, questions? No? Ready to go to work on this glorious Monday, July 17th?
Thank you, Thomas.
Just want to let you all know that we have a lot of meetings lined up. Tanya has a ton of meetings lined up at her location. We have one in Lakewood Ranch this week on Thursday at 1:30. We have one in St. Petersburg and one in Orlando next week, Wednesday and Thursday. Tanya, when are you having your meetings?
We have a training on Thursday, but it's not necessarily a meeting.
Okay.
We had it last week, so I think I'll look at the calendar and see. Honestly, I'm having a little bit more luck doing things that are more social than recruitment, and also one-on-one. So I'm not sure. It might be a week or two before I do a public group.
Okay.
I'm trying a little bit different approach. So I'll get back to you.
All right, just let us know. And keep in mind, we have our promotion this month, which basically says if you RSVP a guest and they actually show up at the meeting, then you get entered into a drawing for $500 cash. Now, you can't bring the same guests 5 times. They don't count 5 times. But and the guest has to be licensed. It can't be someone that, well, I'm thinking about going to school next year to get a real estate license. So, this is your chance to win and enter to win. And we'll include the meetings that Tanya has as well, if she has one, when she has one, so she can give me the list of people that RSVP'd and attended. So make sure if you have anyone that you think could be a good prospect, get them to RSVP online, get them to plug in, and come join us. Okay? Thank you for joining, and you know where to find me. If you need anything, shoot me a message, and I'll be happy to help. All right. Bye, everyone. Bye, Tanya.
Thanks, Tom.
Bye, Glenda. Bye, everyone.